Hey guys, so real quick, I just want to go over the little setup I've been using for the past two videos I've posted. So the tone in these two videos is actually kind of simple setup. So really all it is just the Boss Katana here. And I got it set up on the, turn it on. I got it set up on the brown channel, which is very like EVH 5150 type of modeler. And then I use this little variation switch here. Just gives you just a little bit of like a darker tone with that brown channel. So then I've got gain all the way up, of course. The channel volume all the way up. And then moving on. Bass a little under half. Scoop the mids. Crank the treble. Nothing in the effects really. Sometimes I'll use this little booster. But honestly, on the Katanas, the booster doesn't really do what like a typical boost pedal would do. It just kind of makes it a little fuzzy. I mean, it does give it a little more oomph to the sound, especially like lower tunings. It gets a little bit darker, but at the same time, it's like a little bit fizzy. So that's it for effects. And then on this settings, I got the presence almost all the way up, the master down, because really I just use this amp for like I keep it in my living room and it's just something to jam around in the living room. So I don't really crank it too much. Power control on 0.5, and this is pretty nice. I honestly don't really turn it up too much. Like if I get it all the way up to 100, it'll keep up with any 100-watt head and stack combo, you know. It cranks. For the cab resonance, I keep it on vintage. Modern's got a little bit of like a real bass heavy kind of, it's tough to just, it's not the greatest tone. And then deep is kind of like a Marshall-y type sound. And then the vintage, I just feel like it's the best for like the lower tunings I play in. It's more of like a British type style. It's actually a lot like this orange cab I have here. And that's pretty much it for the amp I use in that. I guess next we'll go on to the guitar. So this is a Ibanez Axiom label, 7-string fan fret multi-scale with the Fishman Fluence Moderns, which I think is probably the best pickups you can have, especially for the heavy style that I like. And then you got the push-pull for the volume pot, which is on these ones, down is like a traditional active style pickup, like an EMG or anything like that. And then pull, you get more of like a passive sound. So this thing's pretty sweet. It's, I think it's 27 on top and then 25 and a half on the treble side. And 5-piece neck. I think it's maple and panga panga. Go to locking tuners, bolt-on neck, the battery cavity for the active pickups, and then your regular, all your wiring cavities and stuff like that. And yeah, that's pretty much the setup I use in those first two videos. Pretty simple. Like I said, this Katana is a really great amp. If you're, a beginner looking for relatively inexpensive amp to use, but you want to play that high gain stuff, I think the Katana is probably the best. And even like the smaller 50-watt ones, they crank too, but if you really want something to practice with and to be able to bring in like a live band setting, I think this one's probably the go-to with the 100-watt. It's, like I said, it'll keep up with any half stacks. It gets as loud as either of these stacks. And it's just overall a pretty sick amp. So yeah, I guess I'll play a little something for you and give you the sound.